Hi! On the Woodpecker today, I'm installing the soffit. If you are distracted, you might think that the exterior of my shop is finished. But it's not. Last fall, I did not have time to close the soffits. The air has no trouble circulating inside, but it looks like crap. My big problem is the 2 inches of space between the insulation and the roof. As you can clearly hear, I have squirrels scratching my ceiling insulation, and with all the money this cost me, I need to do something, and fast. So I put out a squirrel trap and I cut one. You know, the big ugly gray type. I thought of getting rid of it for good. You know what I mean. But instead, I decided to release it into the wild, even if it's ugly and a real nuisance. I couldn't do it because we are keeping something even worse inside the house. I even cut another one, but this time a cute little red one. I decided to release it near my house in a safe place. I hope it won't miss my shop too much, but unless it can swim like a duck, it won't be coming back. But before I start to install the soffits, I need to build the jig to make some ventilation holes. The jig will look like this. The first thing to do is to cut a wedge shape on one side. This will act as a clamp for the jig. When all the pieces are cut, I just need to glue and screw them. This is the spacing that I want for the holes. I rip some strips of plywood to the width of the spacings. The 1-inch strips are cut smaller. When I have all the pieces I need, I glue and nail them together. This will be the movable part of the jig. When everything is glued, I trim both edges. This is the way it will work. I clamp the soffit into the jig and lay the pattern for the holes on top. I use a 1-inch template bushing to cut the holes. The last thing to do before it's finished is to drill some dowel holes to keep the pattern in place. Next, I glue the dowels. Now I can try the jig. When the 5 holes are cut, I need to clean them. One done. Now I have to cut some more. First, I need to cut the 16-foot planks at 87 inches. Next, I stack the 2 sections together and cut them to 17 inches. Then, all these small planks receive their holes. This pile is 5 16-foot long planks. I need to make 10 more. This is 160 completed soffits. It only took me more than 7 hours. Finally, the snow has melted. This means I can spray the soffits outside. 160 pieces take a lot of space on my deck. Those holes are great for letting the air pass through, but not so good at keeping the wasps outside. To keep the insects out of the roof, we cut some strips of small wire mesh. And yes, I can deny it, Renée got hurt in the process. So she decided to wear gloves from that moment on, even when we stapled the wire mesh to the back of the soffits. After I cut them apart, we just have to clean the wires that are sticking out. This is pretty boring stuff, but it's even worse outside. After another 7 hours of absolute joy, we are ready to start the installation. But before that, I need to nail some pieces of wood to the outside wall to be able to screw the soffit onto some kind of support. Then I cut the soffits to 16 inches. And finally, screw them in place. This is the back part of the shop. We need to move our scaffolds and do the same thing in front. On the side, we start by snapping a line for the wall support. Then I can screw the soffits to that support. When a 10-foot section is done, we move the scaffold and continue. I make special supports for the electrical boxes. But it goes on just like a normal soffit. In each corner, I nail little triangles so I can screw the soffits to something. The last piece is different from the others because I need to trace its exact length. Then I tilt the saw blade to 29.5 degrees and cut it. Here it is, in place. The last thing to do is to glue a little triangle at the tip of the corner soffit. Now we can start to work on the fascias. We begin by removing the rabbet on the rest of our planks. Then rip them to it. With the cutoff, we make some moldings. Just like for the soffits, I spray an exterior oil-based finish. René takes care of all the unfinished parts that we installed. The next morning, I moved the fascias outside and put some finish on their ends. Then we can install them in place. We begin with the straight sides. To install the front and back, I need to cut one side to the roof's angle. On the other side, I only cut a small triangle. Then we can install one side. We temporarily put the other side in place while I trace the shape of the top corner, which looks like a diamond. I bring the sheet of paper in the shop and use it to trace the real shape on a piece of wood and cut it. Next, we can install the diamond and the other side. Now it's time to cut and install the moldings. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have changed clothes again. When I started, I was wearing a coat and a toque. Then, just a coat. Then I removed my coat, and now I'm wearing shorts. Finally, spring is here. The last thing to do is to sand the moldings that are a little bit too long. After I brush finish on them, the exterior of the shop is done. That's not bad. It's even better than what I was expecting before I started. But even if the exterior of the shop is all completed, I still have a lot to do, like a back door and landscaping. But this will be in upcoming episodes of the Woodpecker.